Week 4 of the NFL is officially in the books. Another entertaining week of football, I will say myself. Who That Nation, shout out. We got the W this week. I won't get too ahead of myself, but I want to start off this show with some news we got today. The Texans finally decided to move away from Bill O'Brien. They should have done it a lot earlier than this. But hey, if you start 0-4 with a franchise quarterback and some talent, I wouldn't say all. What do you expect? He's not the only one that deserves to go at this point, but it's pretty much been it's been long overdue. They should have been done this. So, I don't think Bill O'Brien is a terrible coach. I'll just get that out the way. I know I've been calling for his job pretty much since the season started, and before that, before I even started doing the show. But in all honesty, it comes a point where you have to start doing something differently. The Texans doesn't have a first round pick, and you're starting off 0-4. The Dolphins have that pick. The Dolphins are going to end up having a pretty decent pick of their own. Because it's obvious they're not going to start Tua until they feel like they really have to. Because they feel like, I'm pretty sure if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking at it like, hey, we're not going to win this division anyway. At this point, we're going to lose, a good bit of games. Our draft pick is a high value pick. And at the rate Houston's going, that pick is going to have some high value as well. So that makes it look bad on a coach that's the DM as well when you make bad decisions such as trading DeAndre Hopkins. And it shows that Watkins doesn't have the weapons necessary, for to have a offensive line as bad as they have. So it makes all the sense in the world, which is why I've been calling for this. I feel like this should happen a long time ago. But that's probably the biggest thing I've heard so far coming out of week 4. So without further ado, let's get into the recaps. Starting off with Thursday night game, the Denver Broncos up against the New York Jets. Don't really have a lot to say about this game. The Jets suck. The Jets is a terrible team. It's a terrible organization. They lack discipline. And I know it's easy to just say, look, the Jets don't have any talent. And I'll give you that. But it comes a point where you still pro players, and coaching will show if you're disciplined enough and if you're going to go out there and play for your coach to at least be competitive. This team doesn't show any type of competitive nature at all. It seemed like Adam Gase completely has given up on this team. And when you spend a first round draft pick on a quarterback that has talent, you're wasting his potential, Like, you can kill this quarterback's career. You can kill his confidence. And, you can get him injured too. You haven't built a good team around him. So, I don't really know what to say about the Jets. This is the game that you guys should have won. I'm at this point, I'm feeling like the Jets are going to go 1-16. This is the game to win. The Broncos are injured to oblivion. They're starting a quarterback that has never played a game, a down in the league, and he's their third string. Threw 3 interceptions and a pick 6, and you still find a way to not win this game. Just boneheaded things, penalties, just unnecessary penalties. Vic Fangio told his team to go straight to the locker room after the game because they basically were taking cheap shots at the third string quarterback. That's embarrassing. I feel like I don't disagree with Fangio at all. This team doesn't deserve respect. Unless they could put something respectful on the field, I would do the same thing. And it's pathetic. I feel sorry for Jets fans. No fan base really deserves this because it's one thing for us to be like, okay, the Jets don't have talent, but at least if you can look at the Jets and see that they go out every week and they're actually playing their heart out. They're playing like, they want to be competitive, like they want to be there. I don't see that in this team. I don't see that in this coach. I just don't see it anywhere with the Jets. So, for whatever reason, they decide they want to stick with Gase. He's supposedly an offensive genius. Okay. But, he was in your division for years before you hired him. So I don't know how they didn't see this coming in the first place. But I really don't have anything to say about this game more than that. Good win for the Broncos. Like I said, you guys packed with injuries right now. And to come out with the W on the road, good win for you. I have nothing bad to say about the Broncos, man. So now that that's out the way, let's go ahead and move on to this next game. And up next, we have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Detroit Lions. Now, if you guys know, you listen to the show, this was supposed to be a live stream. Schedule didn't allow that. Rich is a Lions fan, and I'm a Saints fan. So we were really, anticipating this game. We couldn't wait. The trash talking was heavy leading up to it. And honestly, this game started off pretty rough. The Saints came out and immediately gave up a touchdown with a plethora of injuries in that secondary. I honestly was expecting this game to be ugly. I didn't think the Saints were going to look good on defense at all. But and when the game started off, it looked like it was heading in that direction. But after they gave up a touchdown, I was like, oh well, let's see what this offense is working with. And Drew Brees goes out and immediately throws a pass that gets tipped and picked off, and the Lions immediately score their second touchdown. Hasn't even been 5 minutes into the game yet, and I'm already like, I just want to look away. But from then on, the Saints proceeded to put the absolute beats on the Lions for the next 2 quarters. And it all started falling apart towards the end. But in all seriousness, the Lions, I didn't see them winning this game. Even when they started, pulling back within this game, I didn't see them pulling it off. Drew Brees finally looked like himself somewhat. And I'm happy to see that the Saints are running the ball like we've been calling for. I mean, Kamara and Murray is a pretty damn good tandem. Run the offense through them, especially when you're missing Jared Cook and Michael Thomas. We didn't expect this at all. I know I didn't expect Sean Payton to run the ball as much as he did. And pretty much because we've been calling for this for a while. And we just figured he's just not going to do it. He did it. It paid off. So I was glad to see that. I kind of can't complain about the Saints secondary too much because I wasn't expecting them to play as well as they did in the first place. Like I said, they had a lot of injuries on that defensive side, and they actually played a lot better than I was expecting them to. So, kudos to those guys, man. Emmanuel Sanders finally, had a breakout game, and Traquan Smith is starting to finally, make some steps up in passing game too. I've been waiting for that for a while. I know the Saints like this guy. He's been there for a while. We just been waiting for him to, take that extra step up, and seeing that he's been doing that over the last couple weeks, I'm liking what I'm seeing from him so far. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Saints. With the Lions, I really don't know what to say about the Lions. I'm not one of those people that's just gonna shit on them because my team beat them, because I actually do like the Lions. I have a soft spot for the Lions. I always have. Even before Rich even knew what football was, I always had a soft spot for the Lions for whatever reason. Why? Don't know. But I will say this. That comes down to coaching. Now, the Saints have an injured secondary. And the Lions, I will give them this, they tried to attack that secondary. And when they did, it worked. I just didn't get why they weren't doing it more than they were. It was a lot of plays where you could see guys who were wide open. Now, that's not on coaching, that's on Stafford. But still in all, when you have a chance to win the game at the end of it, Patricia, who's a defensive coach, made no adjustments to try to slow the Saints offense down, get them off the field. Mind you, the Saints were up 35 to, I think, 21 going into the fourth quarter. And they ended up losing by 6 points. All you had to do was get another stop and attack that secondary. You possibly could have won this game. Patricia is another one of those coaches who, not only me, but Richard being a Lions fan, is ready for him to go. So, I guess this is getting you guys one step closer. But I will give the Lions this. They fought back. But It just wasn't enough to pull off the W, man. So that's all I pretty much have to say about that game, man. Moving on to this next game that we have up right now is the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Another game I don't have a lot to say about. It's not a game that I don't think a lot of people were paying attention to. But I'll have to say, man, me being from Louisiana, not a huge LSU fan, but I did like Joe Burrow coming out of college. The guy had an amazing college season. I knew this guy was going to probably be something special once he got to the league. But he finally got his first W in the NFL. And he's been playing well, man. I think he's only thrown 2 picks since he's been, since, over the course of these first 4 games. I could be wrong by that. But still, I know it's not a lot. He's playing pretty well for a rookie, especially a rookie with not a lot of talent, and that offensive line that he has to play behind is just, as far as pass blocking goes, it's horrible. But congratulations to Joe. The Bengals went in with a plan, and it made all the sense. Put the ball in the hands of the best player on that team. Joe Mixon went off. He actually had like a great game. 152 yards rushing with 2 rushing touchdowns, and he also had a receiving touchdown as well. Basically, the Jags could not stop Joe Mixon. So that's one of the reasons I always said when the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow, he was coming into a good situation because he has a good running back to turn around and hand it off to take some pressure off of him in the passing game. And the Bengals showed that's probably going to be their format moving forward, especially after giving Mixon the type of contract that you gave him. Like I said, I don't really have anything bad to say about the Jags. They played a decent game. Gardner Minshew is pretty impressive. I don't think he gets a lot of credit that he deserves since the hype from last season kind of died down towards the end of the year when he started, playing some pretty shaky games here and there. But he had a pretty decent game. DJ Shark is proven again to be that he's a pretty good wide receiver and a good weapon to have. The Jags, I think, have a pretty decent core to build their team around. I don't think they necessarily need a quarterback, so that's good. So I think what they have to do is start working around that defense again. They still have some pieces there. Miles Jack is still there, and a couple other guys. It's not a lot. Most of the talent on the defensive side on both sides they've let go. But yeah, 2 rebuilding teams, man. Like I said, nothing bad to say about really either one of these teams. Overall, I think it was a pretty interesting game. Nice to see Burrow get his first win in the NFL. And yeah, man, with that, we're just going to go ahead and move into this next game, which is the most hilarious game of this week, in my opinion. So the Cowboys, after getting that miracle in Atlanta, which I struggle to call a miracle. I honestly think it was just idiocy that the Falcons didn't just fall on this fucking ball. The Falcons, that's another team we'll talk about later, but the Cowboys are in that same boat as that team, in my opinion. They should really be 0-4 right now. They didn't just, of course, they had to put the points up, but all the Falcons had to do is fall on that ball. You 0-4 right now. They felt like, we back, after that win. No, you're not. This team sucks. And it shouldn't be this bad. That's the worst part about it. The Dallas Cowboys were hosting the Cleveland Browns. And not to shit on the Browns, but seriously, the Browns hung 49 points on the Cowboys in Jerry World. And you expect people to take the Cowboys serious? What makes it so bad on the Cowboys is their fan base. Every year we have to hit them. They the loudest fan base in the goddamn league. Every year, it's just a lot of, yap, yap, yap. They don't know how to shut the hell up. Every year is their year. So they bring it upon themselves. Now, if a team loses to a team that's, more talented than them, which, in my opinion, I think the Browns are more talented than the Cowboys right now. But if it wasn't the Cowboys, we just look at this game like, oh, they just got blew out by the better team. But it can never be like that with the Cowboys with how loud that fan base is. And then it makes you look at other things like just how bad this game was. You look at Dak's stat line and be like, well, damn, Dak had a pretty damn good game. And it was pretty bad at one point, but they actually fought back. This game went into the fourth quarter, 41-14. What were y'all doing throughout the rest of the game? On top of that, every running back on the Browns roster, literally every one of them, averaged about, let's say, about 14 or 15 yards a carry. That's an exaggeration, but it was pretty damn bad. Nick Chubb got injured. Kareem Hunt came in, ran all over them. The other running back, I can't even think of his name. I just know his last name is Johnson, was the leading rusher for the Browns with like 70, 80 yards. It was ridiculous. I mean, the Browns out there pulling trick plays on these niggas. It was bad. You know, that Cowboys secondary is trash. It's horrible. Y'all need to sign Earl Thomas yesterday, because going into this season, I couldn't imagine the Cowboys being this bad. Because even though I hate that fan base, I can honestly say the Cowboys do have some pretty good talent there. That offense is showing that when it's clicking, it's dangerous. But that's the problem. That offense doesn't do anything until they're down by like 2-3 scores. Dak is not helping his case to get a major contract. Yeah, you went out there and threw a lot of yards, but what did you do when you had the chance to, pull this game back within reach? You throw a terrible pass that's picked off. Game over. But enough about the Cowboys, because, again, that team is bad. It's not going to go anywhere. You're sitting behind a team in your division that's 1-2-1 right now. Stop it. Okay. Now, moving on to the other team in this game, the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski is proving that he is the right person for this job. All last season we said that the Browns offense should have ran through the running game. That's what they've been doing. The Browns are 3-1 right now. And I know they played some bad teams, but I think the Browns could keep this up and actually make some noise. They have the extra spot in the wild card. The AFC is, I would say, it might be a spot for the Browns to make it if they keep this up. I don't think their schedule is that tough. Of course, they have their own division to worry about with two juggernauts in that. But besides that, the Browns, I'm ready to go ahead and say they look legit. I won't say that it's a fluke or anything like that just yet. So, good win by the Browns, man. So let's go ahead and get into this next game. And with this game, it's not honestly a lot to say. Seattle at Miami. Nobody expected Miami to beat Seattle, even though I will say this game was a lot closer than anybody probably was expecting. Miami did play pretty competitive. Ryan Fitzpatrick also turned the ball over a lot. And one thing I will say, one takeaway happened in this game is Russell Wilson kind of struggled in this game. He had a good game, but he didn't look as sharp as he looked in the first couple weeks. I'm not going to take that away from him because, you're entitled to an off week. But, not really a lot to say about this game. So no sense of wasting time on it. We're going to move right into the next game. The Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Off rip, I'm going to say right now, Justin Herbert, it looks like the guy. He looks good. I remember when the Chargers first picked Herbert, I was like, that's not a good pick. I didn't see anything special from him coming out of college. This guy looks good. Like, the Chargers made the right pick. He's not scared to push the ball downfield. He's not scared to make certain throws that, rookies will come out and be like, they might want to make that throw. But with the rookie mindset, they probably come in with, will be too scared to take it. Or if they do, they don't really take it with confidence. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't let anything throw his confidence off. He's throwing the ball. It didn't matter to him that Tom Brady was on the other offense. He went out there and balled. And now I will say this. He looked like Phillip Rivers yesterday when he had a chance to win the game. Threw a bad interception. Just Charger shit. Man, you kind of can't, erase certain things in a culture of a certain team. That's just going to happen. Hopefully he overcomes that. And I honestly, I wouldn't think too much of it. The Chargers, I see a bright future with this guy. But on from that, Tampa Bay, moving on to 3-1. Tom Brady show he still have that clutch gene. If he have to go out there and win a game, He's going to do it through 5 touchdowns. And Tampa Bay's defense showed me yesterday. I was ready to say that they made some big improvements, but that secondary is still not too good. It still could be shredded, if you will. But like I said, that front seven is nice. I have nothing bad to say about that Tampa front seven. The Bucs are starting to prove to me maybe I should have some concern about them. I know going into the season, I still thought the Saints were the better team. Still think the Saints is the better team. They just haven't clicked just yet. But I mean, once everybody's back healthy and the season moves along, I say I'll give it another week or two before I'm ready to crown the Bucs as the best team in the division. And that's just me trying to be as unbiased as possible. But no, I'm a good win by the Buccaneers, man. I see now they look like a completely different team from week 1 playing the Saints to now. You can tell that things are starting to come together. And like I was saying, I was telling people before the season started, don't just crown the Bucs just yet. You don't know for sure if this team is going to be as good. You have to wait to see how they gel together. And right now, they're looking pretty good. So, all in all, man, good game by the Bucs. And also good game by the Chargers, man. Like I said, Justin Herbert's a stud. They got a good quarterback, and I see a bright future with this team. On to the next game. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Washington football team. Not a lot to say about this. We knew the Ravens was going to go in there and put the beats on the football team after losing Monday night and didn't look as good, Lamar picked up where he left off before Monday night, and this Raven team looked like, they're back onto winning games. Like I said, man, not a lot to say. Haskins finally threw over 300 yards, but I'm sorry, I'm starting to realize, man, I don't know if I'm wowed by Haskins. I don't know if he was the right choice, Now maybe I don't know. I can't explain it. He just doesn't look like that guy to me yet. I really would like to see him succeed because I love seeing young guys come into the league, and do good. Haskins just hasn't looked as good to me as somebody like, I would even go out and say that I think Daniel Jones has looked better than Dwayne Haskins. At least Daniel Jones will go out there and he's, throwing touchdowns and, trying to do things to help his team. Not saying that Haskins isn't. It's just he doesn't look like that guy just yet to me. Maybe that'll change after, something to build off of. I know it's a loss. But like I said, his first 300-yard game, I didn't even know he was capable of it because I think before that he only had like 2 games in his career so far of throwing 200 or more yards. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about Washington. I will say this, the AFC North is gearing up to be the most entertaining division in the league this year. Between the Steelers, Ravens, and shockingly to say, even the Browns, man, they all have winning records, and they all look like they can compete. So I look forward to watching those guys throughout the rest of the season. But on to the next game, the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers. I was not expecting the Cardinals to lose this game, but I got hats off Carolina. I thought this team would have looked a lot worse than they do, but I see a bright future with this team as well. Bridgewater and Anderson really starting to get a connection that's going to be dangerous, especially when you add Christian McCaffrey back into the mix of this. And they also, still have DJ Moore as well, who we know could be dangerous in his own right. This offense looks good, and this defense played surprisingly a lot better than I was expecting them to. Kyler Murray only threw for 130 yards, 30 or 150 yards, something like that. Still threw 3 touchdowns, which he's gonna do. Kyler Murray is not a bad quarterback, and he has some weapons on that offense. So, like I said, man, not a lot to say about this game. I congratulations to the Panthers for being 2-2 right now. Tied with the Saints right now. I didn't expect that at all from this team. The team I thought would be a little more competitive in this division has been absolute garbage. So I'm happy for the Panthers. I'm happy for Panthers fans. They got a young core, young team. They got something to build on with a new coach. So, hey, look, good win for you guys, man. Up next, a game that I didn't know who to take in this game. Both of these teams have looked tremendously disappointing. So, the Minnesota Vikings at the Houston Texans. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the Texans, now 0-4, decided to move away from Bill O'Brien. And it's honestly not a lot to say about this game. I pretty much, everything that I've said talking about Bill O'Brien is pretty much been a problem with this team this year. The talent that you guys have is not enough. You took the guy's best weapon away. He also has no offensive line. That defense is aging. And Dalvin Cook ran all over it. It showed that. On top of bad coaching that Bill O'Brien has been doing lately. But on the other side of the ball, Minnesota has looked very disappointing as well. Their defense hasn't looked as good. And I know they lost some pieces in the offseason. And that offense finally, clicked. Like it should go through Dalvin Cook. And as they did, they fed Dalvin Cook and won this game. So, not a game I really have a lot to say about. The only implications came out of it is, Bill O'Brien finally being fired, because couldn't find a way to win some of these games, man. So, not a lot to say about this one. Next game, only interesting thing about this game is, some fights happen. That's the New York Giants at the Los Angeles Rams. No offense was pretty much had in this game. The defenses came to play. I will say this, unlike the Jets, the Giants actually go out and be competitive. That defense played a lot better than I was expecting them to do. Like, the Rams have a pretty good offense. The Giants defense pretty much stood their ground. I like that, And again, this team doesn't have a lot of talent. But to go out there and show that, the competitive is exact opposite of what the other New York team has been doing. In the game, Golden Tate and Jalen Ramsey gotten into fisticuffs about some off the field issues. I think Jalen Ramsey was dating Golden Tate's sister. She was pregnant. He broke up with her for like a stripper. I don't know. I get it. I have little sisters too. I'll be upset, but it's a time and place for everything. But I guess Golden Tate just felt like, it was on site. Also in this game, Aaron Donald got in a fight with the Giants center. I wouldn't pick a fight. Not saying the guy picked the fight. I wouldn't fight Aaron Donald at all. I mean, that guy's a fucking freak. So, but anyway, that's off topic. Trying to stay on just talk about football. Hey, good game. It was a close game. Like I said, no offense was really had in this game here. The Giants kept it competitive, and that's all you can really ask for from a team that lacks talent. I will say this: I'm not really mad at the last interception that Daniel Jones threw. He's just trying to make a play, but I do get it. Do you have to protect the ball? You still had a chance to win the game. You don't throw that interception. Y'all could have had opportunity to try to win this game. That wasn't the case. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that game. So let's move on to the next one. So the Indianapolis Colts at the Chicago Bears. Both of these defenses came to play ball. The Colts have a pretty good defense. I honestly could say I was not expecting this at all this year. That defense looks pretty good, and it's been winning them games. And the Bears, we know what that defense is capable of. That's pretty much the big part of this, the biggest takeaway from this game. Nick Foles weren't able to pull off the W, so the Bears finally get their first loss on the season. And the Colts move on to 3-1, man. I just really did not expect the Colts to be 3-1 right now. I thought this team would look a lot worse than they do. They look really good, actually. They still don't have the offense there, especially missing Marlon Mack. I know that hurts, but that defense has been really, making some plays. And I have to give it to them, man. They actually look pretty good. I think the Colts, I will say this, the Colts defense is legit. I don't see how far you can get with that offense because Phillip Rivers doesn't look like he has that arm anymore. The missing Marlon Mack, I don't see how that offense could fare in the long run, but this defense looks legit. I think the Bears will be fine. The defense is still good. Just went up against another good defense. That's pretty much it. They're still second in that division, still have a good record. So I think they'll be fine. So, like I said, not too much to take away from that game. And up next, the Buffalo Bills at the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to say this right now. The Bills look dangerous. I know it's people that don't want to give the Bills their credit or their due diligence. I think the Bills can beat any team in this league right now. Seriously. Josh Allen has showed a lot of improvement, kind of similar to the improvement Lamar Jackson showed from his rookie season to his sophomore season. If you ask me, I would put Josh Allen in the MVP race right now. And that defense is still the Buffalo Bills defense. You know, they played a team that has a pretty good offense, whether people want to give them that or not. The Raiders offense is pretty good, you know. So, yeah, I want to just say that off top about the Bills. I like what I see from this team. I think they can, you know, be in games with anybody at this point. So, I honestly don't have much more to say about it. I mean, it was a pretty good game. It was close. The Raiders made some terrible turnovers in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was bad. Like, it was turnovers that I think hadn't they made, you know, they probably would have been able to possibly pull this game off. But I mean, they were just bad, you know, turnovers that they really couldn't afford at the end. But outside of that, the Raiders are, you know, they're a young team, and the Raiders have looked a lot better than people have, you know, been expecting them to look. So another game where nothing really bad to say about either team. The Raiders, they have a plan for like the long haul. Like Gruden's not going anywhere. So, and they I think they're building a good core. No need to rush it because you still have Mahomes in that division. Now you got Justin Herbert. So maybe you should rush some things because, you know, you have some problems. You have other teams, you know, in that division now that you have to worry about in the future. And like I said, I think Drew Lock is also another special quarterback in that division. So, like I said, the Raiders, in my opinion, have been looking a lot better. In my opinion, they're overachieving at this point. But the Bills, I think they are just that good. I think the Bills are going to win their division. I know that's saying a lot with Belichick and the Patriots, but I really like what I see from this Bills team. And the addition of Diggs, it's really showing why they had to go out and get somebody like that. So, take a short break. I'm going to get right into these last couple games right after this. So, up next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The Eagles finally get them a W in the win column, man. Wentz finally looked pretty good. He didn't go out there and try to do too much, which is good, you know, especially against a team like this. I actually picked San Francisco to beat the Eagles because I look at it like the Eagles are a well-coached. The Eagles are a good coach team. I think Doug Peterson is a good coach, but Kyle Shanahan is easily one of the best coaches in the league right now. That defense is still, even though they're missing a lot of pieces, that defense still could get the job done. Nick Mullins, well, in that game, he looked decent up until the end, which is honestly why the Eagles won this game because Nick Mullins pretty much threw that game away with that pick six. Without that pick six, I still think the 49ers end up pulling that game off. But a win is a win. Carson Wentz finally looked like Carson Wentz. You know, nothing, can't complain about that. I will say this. The Eagles really, you know, have to, I don't know, they have to get this guy some help. And then again, even if you say that, they can't stay healthy. Like that, I don't know if it's the medical staff or the training staff, man. That Eagles team cannot stay healthy. But what can you say, man? The Eagles, they're first in their division right now, and it's not going to take a lot of work. You keep playing like this, you can win this division. 6 wins might win this division this year because every team in this division looked pretty bad. Some shouldn't look this bad, but it really might only take you 10 to get this one. Yeah, that's all I will say. The 49ers, I like what I see from them. But that's to be expected. They were just in the Super Bowl a couple months ago. Just getting Jimmy Garoppolo back soon. And we all know that this team is packed with injuries as well. This is one of those teams that in week 2 got hit hard by the injury bug, along with Denver, So, not nothing to worry about. I think, 49ers fans, don't get concerned that, you lost to the Eagles. Y'all be fine, So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next game, which is a game that I felt should have been postponed to another week. You have the New England Patriots at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, most people probably picked the Chiefs to win this game anyway. Like I did, I expected the Chiefs to win this game. But with Cam Newton being out with the COVID, I feel like it's, and I do know that football is next man up, but I guess when you look at the fact that Tennessee and Pittsburgh got postponed to another week, this one only got pushed back a day. I feel like that's a bit unfair for the Patriots. You had a plan all week, and then Cam ended up testing positive. Now you have to go with somebody else, and I get it. Next man up. But for a game like this against that team, you want your best person out there. I will say this: the Patriots defense did play a good game. They kind of held the Chiefs in check for the most part. It's a pretty close game. But, the Patriots just couldn't score with this team. And the only way to beat the Chiefs is if you could outscore them. If you can't score with the Chiefs, you're not beating the Chiefs. Simple as that. And you're not going to be able to score with the Chiefs with Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. So, it's a game that, look, the Chiefs, I had them winning it anyway. Not going to take anything from them and say, they got an easy win because Cam wasn't playing. But I think if Cam was to be in this game, it would have been a lot more interesting. But, it's the Chiefs, man. What you going to do? So, from there, I'm going to go ahead and go into this final game. The Atlanta Falcons at the Green Bay Packers. This is a game that I don't have a lot to say about either. We expected this. Now, I will say this. I honestly thought the Falcons would put up much more of a fight than this. The problem I have with the Falcons, not only is that I hate the fucking Falcons, let's get that out the way. I don't care that they're 0-4. The problem is, this team has the offense on paper to score with anybody. So, even though I'm going to get to Dan Quinn with that defense, the Falcons couldn't score 30 points with that offense that they have. Like, seriously, it's bad, man. It's really bad. Dan Quinn is another one of those coaches that, let's be honest, his time is up. It should have been up. After the Super Bowl, and then they go on to lose a bunch of games afterwards, with all the talent that they have, this guy should have been gone. It's no excuse at this point. This team has too much talent to look this bad, blow leads the way that they do. I honestly think that it's time for, I hate to say this because they have so many pieces, and I guess the best way to put it is, if not now, when? If you wait too long, you might not be able to do it. This team might have to go ahead and just start looking at rebuilding. Get rid of Dan Quinn, bring in a new quarterback. You still have young pieces. You still have Ridley, who's a stud. Dude is a dog. You know what I'm saying? You still have other players under contract. I say you get some of the older guys that's been there for a while out of them. Maybe even Julio Jones. Me personally, I will keep Julio, especially if I'm going to bring in another quarterback. But, I will understand if the Falcons moved on from those guys to get all that they can at this point. Because this team is not going to overcome that. It's time for new blood. Like, that's stuck with them at this point, They blew that lead in the Super Bowl, and as you've seen since then, they can't stop doing it, So that's all I have to say about the Falcons. Now, if you want to keep Dan Quinn, be my guest. I'm a Saints fan. Whatever advantage we can have against you guys, I would love to have it. So if you don't want to get rid of them, fine by me. But let's move on to the Packers. And what can you really say about them? Aaron Rodgers is a man on a mission. As of right now, he's in the lead for the MVP race right now. The dude's been balling. The Packers drafted Jordan Love. I'm pretty sure pissed Aaron Rodgers off, and he's just been going off. Guy named Tunyon, is it Robert Tunyon? Whatever his name is, pretty much dropped his nutsack on the Falcons defense for 3 touchdowns. The dude went off. And that's where I get to talking about Dan Quinn. You're a defensive coach. How don't you make adjustments when you see that this guy's killing y'all out there? And you, again, a defensive head coach, you don't try to make some adjustments. You have an offense to be able to score on paper with anybody. But no, y'all go out there and lose every week. Even when your offense puts up points, that defense can't stop a nosebleed. What are you there for at this point? So the Falcons are a joke at this point, And I will say I feel sorry for their fan base. But ever since that Falcons Super Bowl, I don't have much to say about them. I'm a Saints fan. I could easily talk shit about the Falcons all day. What's the point? They pretty much irrelevant, in my opinion. But so, look, that was week 4, man. Like I said, it was a very interesting week of football. Entertaining games. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to week 5. So, what we're going to have next, we plan on getting the episode out with our week 5 picks. Probably, so we will get it out before Thursday night games. Let's just say that. Most likely it'll probably come out Thursday morning. That's usually what we aim for because, it's the kickoff week, official day of the kickoff of the next week. Jeez, I couldn't get that out for nothing. But, I want to take this time to say, man, we appreciate everybody that's been bearing with us. We know sometimes we haven't been able to get things out, and people that probably, look forward to this, we haven't been able to stay on it. But trust me, we're trying our hardest. Make sure, like, comment, and subscribe. I meant to let you guys know, last week I went, this past week, 10-5 on picks. I'm getting better. Week 1 I did absolutely horrible, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people did. We didn't know what to expect. But yeah, that's all I got, man. So that's our week 4 recap. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.